And right now, key evidence is being presented in the case against the father of a suspected school shooter in Georgia. Jurors are seeing the father's interview with investigators the day after the shooting. Prosecutors argue Colin Gray gave his son a gun despite warning signs that his son was a threat. In earlier testimony, his own daughter said that her dad told her to, quote, basically try to cover for him during a forensic interview. And now we are starting to see what that dad told investigators after the shooting. ABC News' James Sample has the latest on that. James, the jury has watched this video for nearly an hour now, and you hear the investigators asking about the family dynamic. What do you make of the questioning and the father's responses?
Well, the family dynamic had been strained for many, many years. Estranged mother, estranged from the husband, not allowed to see the children, the children removed at one point. The dynamic here is really about establishing what kind of a home life this was.
I also want to ask you about the daughter's testimony yesterday, because there seemed to be two critical parts. One, she talked about her brother barely going to school and having these violent outbursts. And then she also talked about her dad essentially telling her to downplay the access to guns in the house. Which of those do you think is going to play more of a role here, or is this equally difficult for the defense?
I think that the latter is going to play a big role. The idea that the father essentially said to the daughter, allegedly, please cover for me. Try and, downplay the notion of the son having, for example, imagery and news articles related to a Florida school shooter. The downplaying of access to the guns. That reveals a bit of consciousness of guilt, and that's certainly what the prosecutors will try and emphasize that it reveals. That will be a significant line of inquiry and a significant point of emphasis for the prosecutors.
Her talking about those elements in the house, the violent outbursts from her brother, is that enough for prosecutors to say, see, the dad should have known? And did the defense do enough in trying to paint this picture of someone who just wants to separate herself from all of this because of the stigma and wants to stay in foster care?
Well, whether it'll be enough will be a question for the jury, but it certainly does indicate that the family the prosecutors need to establish an awareness on the part of the father that giving the son this gun, this AR-15, as a Christmas gift, despite knowing of the history of the son's mental health challenges and all of that, establishes a sense of culpability, establishes an awareness that could lead to a juror or a jury finding the father accountable for the actions of the son.
All right, James Sample, thank you.